Honey, where are my pants? Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Zareth Prevails. Folks, we have Starkiller here. I think he was actually, his original name was Star Destroyer Killer, which is a mouthful, of course. And so he had his name reduced to Starkiller, obviously. Obvious joke, but he is a huge pain in my hindquarters, folks. He is really good, I think. We don't know his damage modifiers yet, or his speed, or his health, for that matter, which actually is very relevant. But man, he's going to be a really interesting character, and I think he's going to let us use some characters that we previously just didn't have a home for, which is really nice. And at the same time, he's very confusing. He's a very, very confusing man. And I'm very interested to see what you guys think of it. So before we jump in, folks, I do want to remind you that I did do a Mara Jade kit overview. If you missed that, just go check it out. I guess I released it at about the same time, right before this one, I think. So if you want to see what Mara Jade's all about, go check that out. And Turpa and Sidious's Omicrons as well. We're not going to be talking about those because I talked about them in the previous video. I felt like they should kind of be separate videos. So anyways, let's jump into the kit itself, and then we'll look at the roster just a tiny bit. Some of these characters are ones that we're not all super familiar with, despite disdaining old Visas Mar to the extreme. We still don't know what the heck she does. A lot of people have no idea, including myself. I know she revives a little bit, she assists sometimes when she feels like it, and otherwise she's just kind of a hooded weirdo. And so we have that going for her, or she has that going for her, or against her. Now, here's a pretty intense look on on Starkiller's face. He is in fact Darkside, which was a question that we weren't quite sure what the answer was going to be. And otherwise, he's an unaligned force user. I mean, I called what his category would be, I guess, because Darkside, he's mostly he's working for Vader. I think he has the chance in the game to turn light side, but for the most part, I mean, you're playing the game as a dark side character. It makes sense. There's a lot of really cool stuff that you do as a dark sider. So there's a lot of really important things in his kit, though, folks. There's so many interactions here that we're going to have to remember and map out, which is part of why he's a pain in the ass. So he's got on his basic, he deals damage to target enemy twice. This is really important. I noted in the Mara Jade video that she deals damage twice whenever she does her basic. Tons of characters are doing damage several times on their basic or on other hits, and especially these characters, these Legends characters, but even Fennec Shand and Dad Bod Boba, they all have multiple hits on various attacks. And so it's just kind of an interesting thing to note. I don't know if that's an indicator of something bigger coming down the line, but it is something to pay attention to. Now, if it's his turn, so he's going to be assisting a lot. I'll just point that out right now. You're going to want to plan for that, obviously. But if it's Starkiller's turn, inflict shock for one turn and deal physical damage to all enemies, which can't be countered. This is actually really interesting. I've been waiting. This is, I think, as far as I know, the first AoE on basic that we have. And it's not every single time. It's only when it's his turn. And so I think a lot of times we're just going to be doing specials with him. But like an AoE on his basic, and it can't be countered, so there's not a downside. It's not like, well, if I do the AoE, there's some of them are going to counter me and I'm going to die. He just does damage and gets away with it. So it also reduces his special ability cooldown by 1. This is really interesting. Once you get unleashed, and you're still going to be assisting on certain levels, like he's going to, if he's unleashed, he's going to make it so that he he basically will never have to, he'll basically never have to do a basic on his own turn. So having an AoE basic is probably just a utility thing more than anything, because I think you're going to, for the most part, just not have to take any, you won't have to take any turns while you have to do basics, because at least once you get unleashed, which you should get unleashed fairly quickly if my math is right, which I am pro math, so there's that. Boundless Force Throw here. Deal physical damage to target enemy, so just to one target enemy here, and inflict daze and vulnerable for 2 turns. Vulnerable is such a big thing lately. It guarantees crits though, which is nice in some circumstances. Daze is another thing, and you know, everyone's got daze, it seems like. Daze for days, which can't be resisted. So this is just one target enemy. Gain 25 stacks of force energy. This ability can't be evaded. So the force energy, I think you need, what, 100 of that to be able to get unleashed, for them to unleash him. If you're unleashed, then you get buff immunity and healing immunity, and while you're in Grand Arena, this is an Omicron. He has 3 Omicrons, by the way. All of them GAC. So this is probably what my next Omicrons are all going to be going toward, is Starkiller and his madness. While he's unleashed, dispel all debuffs on all allies, and the buff immunity and healing immunity can't be copied, dispelled, or resisted, so they'll be locked, which is pretty interesting. That's a really nice ability. This is normally cooldown what? This is a cooldown of 4. So the next one, Force Repulse, cooldown of 4. Dispel all buffs on target enemy and do physical damage to all enemies. So it dispels one person and it does physical damage to everyone. It's an AoE that dispels on one person. Can't be evaded. It does more damage for each buff dispelled. Remember, it's only dispelling on one enemy. It's not the entire squad. So if Grandmaster Yoda has 20 buffs and you dispel all of them, you're going to be doing 100% extra damage. We'll see. I bet that I expect this one to have a pretty high damage modifier. Well, it's an AoE though, so I'm not sure. Maybe the Force Throw is going to be the one with the big damage. But obviously, there's also one other one, folks, and this animation is something that I want to make sure everyone has the opportunity to look at. So here, I gotta make sure that we are zoomed in properly. So, size means nothing. That's not what she said, but it's epic, guys. You pull in a Star Destroyer and destroy people. It's so crazy, man. This is my favorite part of the movie, or in the game. It's a really tough level, at least it was for me. Maybe you guys, you gaming gurus, know how to do it, but it's just pretty awesome, guys. You get to pull a Star Destroyer down on their heads. Now, I mean, it does beg the question, how is he gonna fare if he doesn't have a Star Destroyer to pull down on people's heads? It seems pretty convenient to me, but it's pretty epic that this is actually in the game. I am super excited, guys. Size means nothing is kind of diluted, but otherwise it's pretty cool. So the other thing to keep in mind, guys, this is the first time we've had an ultimate ability, I think. The first time we've had an ultimate ability that is just like one attack and done. I mean, I guess you could call like Imperial Probe Droid that, but otherwise it does damage equal to 80% of his max health to all enemies. So we don't know what his max health is. He does have ways to boost his health, but I mean, are we just going to be maxing his health? And then I don't know, like, the devs have actually said that we should use him to counter Galactic Legends, but I don't think this ultimate is enough to just kill a Galactic Legend on its own, unless he has a really ludicrously high health pool, which maybe he does. I mean, he's a video game character, right? You have a pretty huge health pool. You're like getting shot by blasters. You're like, oh, that was like 3% of my total life, and it was a blaster bolt to my face. So, it maybe, but if it defeats an enemy, as if this wasn't more overpowered. So all your allies gain all your health and protection back, so you get good banner recovery in case you just destroy the enemy team. Then it's in GAC, right? Like, he's a GAC character, so he's immediately going to heal everyone. right before the round ends, so you get max banners. If it defeats an enemy, then he takes another turn. If it defeats an enemy, I mean, I would imagine it mostly defeats enemies that he's facing, though obviously we don't know what his max health is. So we'll have to find out. But then, let's see, Force Energy here is a unique... So he starts with counter chance, just 30% counter chance, which is interesting. Crit chance, defense penetration, offense, immune to fear. Once he gets unleashed, he goes all the way up to 100% on all of those. He dispels all debuffs on himself. He takes a bonus turn. His cooldowns are reset. And he has the special ability size means nothing. So that's what happens when you get 100 stacks of this. Now, the important thing, though, guys, so you're gaining force energy, and you need 100 stacks. You gain 4 stacks each time he deals damage to an enemy, which you're going to need to make sure he's critting every time if possible. But even if he's not, so here's the thing, guys. 5 stacks every time he crits someone. 4 stacks otherwise. But remember, this is deals damage to an enemy. So he does 2 instances of damage every time he does a basic, and as you'll see in a little bit, the character, I'm pretty sure he's just going to go with Darth Vader. Let's just spit it out. I think he's going to go with Darth Vader, and what's going to happen is Darth Vader, every time he uses a basic, and we'll get into this in just a minute, but every time Darth Vader uses a basic, he is going to call Starkiller to assist, and Starkiller will do less damage and all that, but every time he assists, he's going to be gaining either 8 or 10, or I guess it could be 9, stacks of force energy. And so if Vader goes into Merciless Massacre, and this is in 5v5, of course, if he goes into Merciless, then he doesn't even really have to do his Force Crush. Like, maybe it's wise to do it, maybe not, but just doing all of those basics is going to get Starkiller an enormous number of stacks. So I don't know. Maybe that's what we're gonna see. Maybe that's what we're gonna do. Let's keep moving though, folks. So he gains all this stuff. He gets unleashed, which, I mean, this is cool. I'm guessing they're not gonna do like an ultimate thing for every character, but if I think about it, the last legendary character that we had was actually it's like a mini ultimate as well. The Bando character. He definitely, you know, is whistling birds. It's not like a doomsday thing, but you can do a huge amount of damage, contrary to what other people tend to think. People always say that he sucks. Still they still say he sucks. It's crazy. But this isn't about Bando. It's about Starkiller killing Star Destroyers. And all right, there's much conflict in you. So this is another Omicron. These 3 Omicrons that we have to apply, folks. So that's probably my target. Unfortunately, I really wanted Zam. I really wanted that. I'm gonna think about it for a while, try to plot it out, but I already applied one to Dash accident. It wasn't an accident. I'll own it. It's my fault. But he already has one, and I only have 1 to give right now. So probably we'll see. We'll do the math. We'll figure it out, and I'll get back to you guys. I'm gonna do a rating video on all of the different Omegas, by the way, or Omicrons at some point. All the Omegas, guys. Every ability in the game. Let's do it. No, I'm not going to do that. But we are going to talk about Omicrons and what strategy is now that we know most of them. And anyways, moving forward, guys. So much conflict in you. So he's very like Gideon in the sense that he needs a specific team composition. And this is one of the reasons he's such a huge pain. He has... So you don't want a Galactic Legend in with him, because a Galactic Legend is a deal breaker. But take a GL out, and he needs 1 Jedi, 1 Sith, 1 light side, 1 Lasufu, light side unaligned Force user, and 1 Disufu, on a dark side unaligned Force user. If he has all of those criteria met. So keep in mind, guys, this is actually, it didn't occur to me till just now, he is going to be significantly worse in 3v3 because he's not going to have all these buffs for his team. Oh, that's disappointing. I know everyone likes 5v5 better anyways, and we're going to get several 5v5 seasons moving forward anyways, but 3v3, he's going to be significantly reduced. I don't know how I feel about that, guys. It's disappointing. We'll move on. Let's keep going. So we've got, if he does that though, then the entire team, so this is another leadership basically, is he doesn't have a leadership, but everyone gains extra, it's like 100% crit damage and max health. So this is part of why he wants to meet this, because when he gets his ultimate, when he gets unleashed, he's got 100% extra max health. And the damage from the ultimate is based on his max health. He also, everyone gains speed and 100% max protection until the first time he's defeated. Oh, okay, yeah. So if he's defeated and then revived, then everyone gets this until until he dies. Okay. I don't know why they're making that distinction. They're doing weird things with protection, guys. I'm confused a little bit. And then everyone is also immune to daze and stun. That is actually really, really important. That is really good. He's also immune to fear. I don't know if I covered that, but he's immune to fear, so that's nice. So, let's see. While in Grand Arena, so if we meet all of these conditions, then at the start of the battle, Jedi tank allies taunt for 1 turn. So that would be like either Plo or Old Ben. We could do Jedi Knight Guardian, but probably just going to be Plo, to be honest, because everyone else has a role. Maybe Mace. I don't know. Mace is already relic. He might be okay for that. All allies have plus 35% speed. If in Grand Arena, so this is another plus 35 speed. I believe that's what it is. Plus 35 speed compared to the 35 speed he gets there. That it's not being that clear, but I think that's what it is. So another 35% speed. All debuffed enemies deal less damage whenever a Sith ally uses a basic ability. Now this is why Vader is going to be good, because he's going to go Merciless, and he uses a basic. Starkiller assists. So Vader is going to go around the board. If there's a 5-man team, he's going to let's say he doesn't do a Force Crush. Let's just say that he does a basic 5 times in a row. Then he'll get 1 more turn. He can do another basic. Starkiller is going to be assisting a total of 6 times. He's going to be doing 2 hits each, so that's 12 total hits. And I mean, I think this. Let's see, 12 total hits. And each of those can be 5%, so that's 60% immediately from Darth Vader, just assisting from Darth Vader. He's going to get his ultimate relatively quickly, I mean, because he can get another 25% from one of his specials. It's all theory, but I think he's going to get his ultimate pretty dang quick if you have Darth Vader in there. But then we don't know what the Dasufu is going to be on the squad. It's either going to be Mara or it's going to be OG Kylo. We'll take a look at their kits in just a minute. But let's see. Whenever another dark side unaligned Force user uses a special ability, all allies gain crit hit immunity for 1 turn. So that's why you would want. I guess OG Kylo could do that. Everyone's going to gain crit hit immunity. I don't know. Who cares? When Starkiller uses a special ability, so whenever he uses one, then light side healer allies have their cooldowns reduced by 4. That sounds like too much, but I'll show you guys why that's important in just a minute. And Jedi tank allies gain damage, immunity, and taunt for 1 turn. So damage, immunity, and taunt is such a crazy combo, guys, because he's going to be. I don't know how fast he's going to be, but he's going to be using his lot of specials, because he'll be assisting so much that with his basic, he's going to just be spamming specials, basically, because on his off turns, he's going to be reducing his cooldown. So pretty interesting stuff. This is all in Grand Arena if we meet the criteria. But let's go look at the roster for just a moment, and then we'll call it good. This is such an interesting kit. There's so many elements, and yet, I mean, it's fairly basic at the heart of it. I mean, obviously it requires nuance, but I'm feeling a little more, I don't know, optimistic. This is a very big kit though, as we've come to expect. So let's see, let's go here. Whoa, why are we in the game? Madness. Whoa. All right, so we need to figure out what all characters we're going to be taking. So Here's the thing, guys. If we use Mara Jade, which she's not here, obviously, but she's a dark side, she's a Disufu, and if we use her, she's going to be buffing him a lot, but she's also taking a few things away from him, and she's not going with Palpatine, probably. If we could take Palpatine as the lead, and that would work, but then you don't get your ultimate nearly as fast as if you take Vader. And Vader, actually... Here, let's look at Sith for just 1 second. I think Vader actually, does he give max health as the leader? Because he would be the leader in this case. So as the lead, just Empire and Sith allies have offense and chance to remove turn meter. Okay, so I was just totally off. Never mind. But he could be the lead and, you know, all those damage over times and everything. I don't know. It could be interesting. Palpatine, of course, would also be interesting, just in the sense that you're doing all this damage, or you're getting all this turn meter and everything, but if you use him, like, only Empire and Sith allies gain the potency and max health. So you could take Mara Jade here. You could take Mara Jade on with them, and they'd have their own little internal synergy, but otherwise I don't know. It just doesn't seem like this is going to... It seems like Vader's going to, just because he's merciless, is going to make it way easier long term to be for him to be able to get his ultimate. But otherwise, so my guess is it's going to be Vader with probably Mara Jade, which is annoying. I wanted her to be good with Emperor. I just wanted her to go with Emperor and actually revitalize that team, which she kind of does, but now she doesn't because she's going to just be stuck with Starkiller. Or we could take OG Kylo. Now, OG Kylo doesn't do much for him. That's the issue. So he's got the unstoppable thing. I mean, that's just him being strong on his own. That doesn't benefit anyone. The one that I thought was interesting might be his AoE, because it gives a turn meter, but it only gives turn meter to first order allies or allies with advantage, and there's no advantage in this kit. Maybe Mara just gives it to him or something. Maybe I missed some element, but he doesn't do that much here. I mean, the one thing is he's available. We don't need him for other teams for the most part. So there is that going for him. we don't need him is hardly a strong recommendation. I mean, we'll have to see. Like, I don't think Maul has much going with him. I think it's probably just going to be OG Kylo, or it's probably going to be Mara. Let's just be realistic. So then on the light side of things, we can get Plo in. And he can do some interesting stuff. He can dispel things. He can taunt. He can do all this stuff. The thing that's most interesting to me, though, guys, is what Lasufu are we going to take? And I think it's going to be Visas. So here's the big thing: is her healing. Cooldown 8 when she uses this. She heals everyone, but she also can revive a random defeated ally at 50% health. So whenever she uses this, and then Starkiller uses a special, then all of her cooldown is reduced by 4 here. So she can actually do it more than one time every match. She's actually going to be able to spam revives if necessary. So, and Starkiller can force the taunt on Plo. So Plo's probably going to die, and then she can revive him. And then we can just rinse repeat over and over again. It's interesting, guys. I have a gear 12 now. I don't know. We'll have to figure out how this whole team's going to work. The other alternative, of course, I mean, who else do we have? We have Fulcrum. Fulcrum does nothing with this team. She needs all the buffs, and she's not getting anything. She is worthless with this team. The other one would be Scav Rey. The rest of them don't make any sense. Obviously, we can't take actual Rey. Commander Luke is just too valuable on his own team. Jedi Training Rey is too valuable on her own team, and Cat would not actually be able to interact with like anyone here. Maybe with Plo, just a tiny bit, but Cat, I don't think Cat's gonna be a Scav. Scav just hits like a truck, and that's it. My guess is that we get Visas, though. I think what the tell for me is reduce cooldowns by 4. From his special. I think that's too much of a coincidence. to, the developers every once in a while lead us by the nose, and sometimes we should just appreciate being led, frankly. So I'm going to let it go, guys. This is 25 minutes. Wow. But thank you all so much for watching, and remember that in all things, Zareth prevails. Let me know what you guys think. I would be interested. He's going to be an extremely impactful character, I think. Okay, I told you guys I was going to go, so I'm going to do it.